If you've ever felt like your rent is just some random number your landlord pulled out of thin air, you are definitely not alone. But what if I told you there are really clear signals out there? Signals that can tell you if rents are about to go up or down. Well, today we're going to pull back that curtain on the rental market. I'll show you exactly how to read those signs so you can make much smarter decisions. It's a pretty frustrating feeling, right? You're scrolling online, you see a new listing in your own building for an apartment just like yours, but the rent is totally different from what you're paying. It just makes you wonder, am I getting a fair deal here? Well, I can tell you it's almost never about favoritism. It's all about timing and these invisible forces that are constantly shaping your local rental market. At its core, the rental market is really just a simple balancing act. Think of it like a seesaw. On one side, you have the number of available apartments. That's your supply. And on the other side, you've got all the people who are looking for a place to live. That's the demand. And that constant tug of war between these two, that is what sets your rent. So this balancing act creates two very, very different situations. First, imagine a town with, say, 100 empty apartments, but only 50 people looking to rent. That is a renter's paradise. Landlords literally have to compete for your business, which means you're going to find better deals and have way more power to negotiate. But now flip that around. Imagine 100 people all fighting over just 50 available apartments. Well, that's a landlord's market. And in that scenario, you're much more likely to face bidding wars and have almost no room to negotiate. This simple chart really shows you who has the upper hand. See, when that available units bar is taller, that means there are more apartments out there than people looking for them. That's when you have the power. But when the searching renters bar is the tall one, well, landlords have all the leverage. Just understanding this one dynamic is the absolute first step to mastering your apartment search. Okay, so the big question is, how can you actually tell which way the market is tilting? The good news is, you don't need a crystal ball or some fancy economics degree. The signs are literally all around you, hiding in plain sight. You just have to know what to look for. Think about this. You're scrolling through apartment listings, and you keep seeing the same ad pop up week after week. Or maybe you're walking your dog and you notice a new for rent sign on a lawn that definitely wasn't there last week. These are all subtle little clues that the market is starting to shift in your favor. And of course, if you see a brand new apartment building going up, well, that's a giant billboard basically screaming, hey, more supply is on the way. Okay, here's a secret weapon for your apartment hunt. Let's call it the 4-week rule. If you're consistently seeing apartments sitting empty for a month or even longer, that is your cue. It's a crystal clear signal that landlords are starting to get a little bit nervous, and that means you're in the driver's seat. So now that you know how to read the market, let's flip the script, then look at it from the other side. Landlords are paying super close attention to these exact same signals. Their rent prices aren't arbitrary. They're a direct reaction to what's happening around them. And if you can understand their playbook, you'll have an even bigger advantage. Believe me, landlords are constantly doing their homework. They're looking at what similar apartments or comps are renting for. They're gauging how many people are actually calling about their listings. They're even thinking about the time of year. If their phone isn't ringing off the hook, they know they've probably priced it too high. It's just a constant game of adjustment for them. And here's another little secret. Those big, shiny new apartment complexes, they're basically the canaries in the coal mine for the rental market. When you see them start offering deals or lowering their advertised rents, it's a huge sign that the whole market is about to follow. So keep an eye on them. They're your early warning system. Okay, so you get how the market works, and now you have a peek inside the landlord's playbook. So what? Well, let's talk about what really matters, how you can turn all this knowledge into actual power for you. The easiest way to think of it is this. Are you in a buyer's market or a seller's market? In a softening, renter-friendly market, you're the one in the driver's seat. You've got options, and landlords are way more willing to make a deal. But in a tightening market, it's a landlord's game. You'll have fewer choices, less bargaining power. The absolute key is to know which game you're playing before you even start. Now, in a softening market, you'll start to see a magical word pop up in listings: concessions. This is your golden ticket. It could be something awesome like a month of free rent, or maybe no application fee, or even a reduced security deposit. When you see concessions being offered, it's like a flashing neon sign that just says, you have the power. All right, it is officially game time. You've done your homework, you know the rules of the game, and now it's time to put together your winning strategy. So here is your official playbook for navigating any type of rental market. So if the market is clearly in your favor, please
Do not be afraid to ask for what you want. You could say something like, "Hey, I love this apartment, but I've seen a few similar places for a little bit less. Is there any flexibility on the rent?" Or, "I'm really interested, but I'm looking for a 10-month lease instead of 12. Is that something you'd consider?" Seriously, the worst they can do is say no, but you might be really surprised at what you can get just by asking.
But if you find yourself in a hot landlord's market, you need to be ready to pounce. That means having all your ducks in a row before you even go to a showing. Get your application filled out, have your references on standby, and be ready with that deposit. In a really competitive market, even a little hesitation can cost you your dream apartment.
Here's another great tip. Just like the weather, the rental market has seasons. Summer is peak season, when pretty much everyone is out there looking for a new place. But if you can wait it out until the fall or winter, you'll find that the competition has thinned out and landlords are a lot more eager to make a deal. Honestly, think of it like Black Friday, but for apartments.
So from now on, before you even think about signing on that dotted line, just take a second, pause, and ask yourself, what signals is the market sending me right now? Is this a buyer's market or is it a seller's market? Just answering that one simple question will completely change how you approach your entire apartment search.
At the end of the day, you might not be able to control the tides of the rental market, but you can absolutely learn to be a better sailor. By understanding the currents, you can navigate any market with total confidence and find a place that you love at a price you can actually afford. Now go out there and find your perfect harbor.